The giant world doesn't seem to have any discos, so this episode is just called Panic. And you knew I had to do that joke.
It's you. I think we have something here. Do you have any idea what it is?
Of course I have. Actually, it's a very common device. I've seen it many times before.
You don't know what it is, do you?
If he knows, tell her what it does. He keeps blustering and insisting he knows what it is. Funny he won't give it a name, though. He has my permission to call it Irving.
It's you.
Oh, that's what it does. It shuts him up. Betty calls Steve, Steve calls Mark, and the green grass grew all around him.
It's you. Can you hear me, Fitzhugh? What's happening? Fitzhugh.
Now they're both frozen. Better take them back to the ship and get them under cover before small birds start trying to sit on them. That doesn't sound like Chipper. If it is Chipper, he's been into the growth formula again.
Stay. Yeah. What do we have here?
And now we know what that thing is, a little people trap. You may have noticed that Betty and Valerie got new outfits. Betty is sporting salmon color while Valerie is resplendent in bright yellow, the better to blend into the underbrush. Betty also got her hair done, and don't expect any of that to be consistent. It's not hard to figure out that these were filmed in a different order than they aired because they'll go back and forth over the last few episodes. The important thing right now is this guy has Betty and Fitzhugh. He shouldn't ought to do that, so let's go fix it.
There are a lot of rooms in there.
It could take forever to find them.
They don't know which room they're in either. All they know is they'd rather be somewhere else.
You run in packs, I understand. Where are the others?
We're quite alone, sir.
I don't believe you. Let me hear your version.
Oh, well,
We were out gathering scrap metal, just the two of us.
that's right.
You know, my colleagues consider me a coldly ambitious man with no conscience.
Oh, you're a politician. I know, but to put it in terms of my life philosophy, don't let the easy ones go by.
I think you might consider that an appropriate description. I don't give second chances. Now, where are the others?
What happened?
Dr. Morad suddenly realized he was holding a magic flame. Make a wish on it and your wish is granted. Greedy little booger that he is, he tried to pull the old trick of wishing for unlimited wishes. The flame short-circuited, flipped around, and burned his eyebrows off. They couldn't afford the rights to the Star Trek transporter noise, so they did the best they could.
Fitzhugh, are you all right?
Where are we? What's happening to us?
I don't know. Steve, this is Betty. Can you hear me? Steve, Mark, Dan, anybody, come in.
Betty, you and Fitz all right?
Yeah, we're okay, but I don't know where we are.
She's pretty sure they're in a different building at the very least, but someone is coming.
Don't be afraid. I wouldn't have taken the risk of bringing you here if I wanted to hurt you.
Who are you? What do you want with us?
My name is Professor Kermis, and I brought you here because I didn't want them to have you.
Uh-huh. Who exactly is they and what does they want?
I don't like people like Dr. Murad. I'm sorry I had to leave you at the moment of transfer, but I thought I heard a noise. I have to be very careful.
Who else lives here?
Only Mrs. Evers, my landlady, who rents me these rooms. She thinks I'm a retired professor of engineering.
The next question? How'd they get here?
Through this.
Why does your TV set have a laser sight?
This is a teleporter. I invented it when I lived on the other side of the planet. I had the illusion it would be a great boon to mankind. But there are vicious and powerful people who would use it to control everything and everyone.
How does it work?
It's quite complicated, but very simple if you know how.
Hey folks, today only we have a special on the Build Your Own Space Shuttle kit. Yes, with this kit you can build your own full-size, fully functional space shuttle. Oh sure, it looks complicated, but it's simple when you know how. Only 39 payments of $39,999.99. Call today. The number to call is 888-399-9999.
Operators are standing by. Offer void where prohibited.
Take that water glass on the table over there. Let us assume that that glass contains a rare medicine that would save the life of a child. But the glass is 1,000 miles away. We merely make our settings until the glass appears in the viewer. And then we simply flip the switch.
That's what he wants to use it for. Some people like Murad aren't so altruistic. Fitzhugh wants to know what the machine's range is. Guess what he's thinking?
Unlimited.
Fantastic.
It's time for your tea, Professor.
I'll be with you in a moment, Mrs. Evers.
He has them hide, but they may have moved too hastily.
I'm sorry, I'd forgotten I'd locked the door, Mrs. Evers.
As I tell my friends, my star boarder is an absent-minded professor.
Please, on the table.
Hello, Mrs. Evers. I was 15 at the time and I considered the miniskirt the greatest invention ever. That's Diane McBain. We saw her multiple times on Batman, first as the Mad Hatter's girlfriend and later as Pinky Pinkston in the crossover story with the Green Hornet. She enjoyed playing so-called bad girls and could summon up the face and demeanor on command. Basically, she's yet another character actor who's making the stars look like stars. Oh, she did have a few starring roles. In fact, I have a soft spot for her because she was the main character in a wonderfully terrible biker gang movie from the 60s called The Miniskirt Mob. The movie itself was interchangeable with a dozen other biker gang movies. The only difference was the bad gang here was composed of women. It was stereotypical, low budget, and she put everything she had into the role. I have to give her high marks for turning in a professional performance, even though everything around her was sucky.
Dr. Murad here. Oh, yes, Mrs. Evers.
There are little people here, Doctor.
Are you sure? How many?
I don't know. I just spotted one of those tiny radios they use. It's on the professor's desk next to that machine of his.
Murad is with the SID. So is Mrs. Evers. Murad says there should be 2 of them. Find a way to keep them there. We're on our way.
Somebody's coming.
There is a house about a half a mile south of here through the woods. Do you know the place?
Yes, sir, we know it.
2 captives stolen from me are in that house. I intend to get them back again and the person who stole them.
And now the crew knows where to go.
Sir, I brought this gas gun in case we have to break in.
Very thoughtful of you, but it won't be necessary. We have an agent in the house. Let's go.
Professor Kervis knows the little people can't stay there, but he doesn't know where to send them. Fitzhugh says, how about Earth? You might know it by a different name.
That's possible. My solar system charts are upstairs. I'll go get them.
We shall be forever in your debt.
Make sure you stay out of sight. This may take a few minutes.
And as quick as he's gone, Fitzhugh does what he does.
What are you going to do?
The first rule of self-preservation is to help yourself.
And the first rule of eating is to consume edible substance. What are you talking about?
I watched the settings he made when he teleported the water glass. That should do it. Betty, turn that dial halfway around.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Fitzhugh.
Listen, trust in me. This may be a ticket back to Earth for all of us.
For once, he's right. Some fiddling with the dials and something very familiar appears on the screen.
It might be.
And you know what that means? No more hiding,
No more peril. Back to Earth.
Oh, Fitzhugh, I can hardly wait to tell the others. Fitzhugh!
I'm not sure how she did it, but she managed to miss both of them.
What are you doing in my study? You've no right to be here. Get out.
I work for the SID, Professor. Temporarily assigned to Dr. Murad. You won't have long to wait. Sit down.
That's her gun? This thing looks more menacing than that, and it does nothing.
And don't make the mistake of thinking I won't use this. I've been well trained.
Prove it. Sit. Roll over. Play dead.
This is no time for games, Professor. Leave that machine alone.
I'll bet her training didn't cover that. She runs out, yelling for Dr. Murad.
I'm going to teleport you outside where you'll be safe. I wish I could do more.
He also sent the gun to the bottom of the ocean. If that works with little people-sized guns, I think we need to hire him.
I can't hear what they're saying to the professor. Come on, we're not close enough.
Now wait till the others get here. They'll be here any minute.
But I've got to know what they're going to do with the professor.
We're getting closer. Keep talking, Fitzhugh.
You won't believe what I'm going to tell you.
But he's going to tell them without Betty. Where has this lady been for the last 2 seasons? She's terrific.
Well, Kermis, at last I have it. You've given us the most marvelous invention of the age.
You'll never find a way to make it work.
We won't have to. I think you'll find it to your advantage to work with us.
Never.
Take him away.
Betty was right. They need to know what he's doing with the professor and the machine. Otherwise, they're not going to Earth or anywhere else. Mrs. Evers and one of the guards will keep looking for the little people.
She must be around here someplace. She can't have gone far.
She can't do that. She doesn't have any choice.
That's the gas gun that guy dragged along. She's hiding in the barrel, and it's loaded. This could be bad.
I'll turn in a report to headquarters. They'll want to search the grounds.
Don't bother. They will have made their escape by then.
Or it could get her a free ride to HQ where they took the professor. Steve calls Mark and tells him and Valerie to follow this guy and find out where in the building he goes. That'll be where they find Betty.
I found him. Fourth window on the left.
Then we can move. No, not yet. Not till we know that Betty's out of the gun and in the clear.
She should still have the radio, but using it right now might not be a good idea.
It doesn't work.
No, of course it doesn't. I told you, Dr. Murad, I'm a retired engineer who likes to putter around with gadgets for my own amusement.
It won't do you any good to pretend. Mrs. Evers is one of our best operatives. We've been watching you for months. I know what this machine is capable of doing.
Kervis says, fine, take it and show me what it does. Too bad you don't know how to work it.
Don't be so clumsy. All right, Professor.
She's gonna have some bruises in the morning.
I want to know how that machine operates. And you are going to tell me.
I was wondering when the violence would start. Men like you always depend on it, don't you?
Lock him up.
Nothing like a little inadequacy shaming to make a small man like him back off. The cell is right there in the room, so that's convenient. And he's not alone in the cell.
Professor! Professor Kermis, I'm here! Professor Kermis, I'm down here!
He says, I looked at the charts and found 2 possibilities that could be your planet. But he has to get out of there and he has to get his machine. Betty calls the others.
All right, what do you want us to do?
Before I was arrested, I took a small magnetic component off the machine and stuck it to one of the legs of the desk, just off the floor. The machine cannot work without it.
Where's it now?
In Murad's office. It is the third office to the left of the entrance guard.
The last time we saw Jack Albertson, he was a retired magician. You can tell he switched to science because now he never uses one word where six will do. Translated, what he said was, "I broke it. Go get the thing to fix it." While most of them are doing that, Dan is headed to the jail to get Betty out of there.
Hi.
Can you get Betty out of here?
Well, it's a long ways down from the window to the ground, but I think we can make it.
It was a long way up, too, but he used his rope and got here. Shouldn't be a problem. But Dan has a better idea.
Is this the key to the cell?
I think so, yes. If you could lift me up, I think I can reach it.
It's worth a try. Come on, get on my shoulders.
The guard is dozing, so Betty should be able to get the key without him noticing. And if the professor gets caught with it, he can just say Murad's dinking around with the machine accidentally transported it to him. Murad can't prove him wrong.
One to the left. Dan, look out.
Never mind. File that one under best laid plans. So now Murad can make the professor talk by threatening the little people. As the professor said, men like him always depend on violence.
This is a cryogenics chamber. We use it to chill small animals for experimental purposes.
We can skip the preliminaries in the filler. He's going to put them in it and keep lowering the temperature until the professor talks. Steve and Fitzhugh are in the professor's house looking for the missing part. There's just one problem. Mrs. Evers is searching the desk where the thing is. I've read that there's a special place in our brain that tells us to be afraid of, or at least cautious with, fire. I think the scientific name for it is no duh. She puts out the fire, Steve grabs the thingy, and away we go. Mark and Valerie have found a vent into Murad's place, but the facing plate is electrified to keep small animals out. Mark has to get a little creative.
Valerie, fine. And now just take it slow, and remember, you have to ease yourself through this grid without touching it.
That works. Paint sticks, not just for applying your makeup anymore. Mark tries to call Dan.
Your friends aren't here. And if you can't come up with something in the next few minutes, they won't be alive when you reach them.
The best way to do this will be to use the teleporter. He tells them how to fix it and how to operate it. Steve sends Mark and Valerie to cut the cord to that cryo machine. They can't get it out of the wall, so they'll have to do it the hard way.
Mark, how's it coming? That's going to take some time to get through this.
Let's hope Dan and Betty can last that long.
We lost touch with Kermis. If we're going to save Dan and Betty, you're going to have to do it, and fast.
He can do it faster if you quit talking to him.
As you can see, this is an order for your immediate execution, authorized by the Supreme Council. Now, either you cooperate with us, or I'll be forced to use it.
Execution for what? What's the charge? When was his trial? Go ahead and kill him. That way you'll never figure the machine out, and your only source for using it will be dead by your stupid hand. The professor says, "I have your promise that you'll free the little people." Murad says, "You do," as if that means anything. He says, "All right, here's what you do."
Well, go ahead, Professor. What are you smiling about?
Well, I was just thinking what I would do if I had the chance. There is a little red switch on the left-hand side of the face panel. Once the teleporter is in operation, if that switch is thrown, the machine will automatically destroy itself in 5 minutes.
Don't ask me why he built something like that into it.
So, after I had teleported myself to safety and taken care of the little people, I would flip that switch.
What's he saying? I think he's going to give us directions on how to operate the machine. Then he wants us to destroy it.
And rightly so. He wanted to use it for delivering medicines and other humanitarian purposes. Murad is seeing hordes of soldiers suddenly appearing in an enemy's facilities and conquering the world. Only humans can take a great idea like this and turn it to crap. The professor describes the switch sequence while Steve and Fitzhugh operate them. Murad has no idea that the professor has Dan's radio in his hands. Betty is in pretty bad shape. They'll have to use one of the ropes to lower her down. While they're doing that, Fitzhugh has found Earth on the machine again. What about Barry? Where is he, and do he and Chipper get to get in on this too, or is this a snooze-you-lose situation?
No, put that on near space.
I won't let you change it. Go back to Earth, that's all that matters.
Get out of my way.
No!
What's he doing? Fitzhugh has Earth in sight. All he has to do is zoom into a good landing spot and they're home. Why is Steve stopping him?
That's it! Steve!
We won't go back.
There's still time. You'll send me back to Earth. It's my right.
You're right. Look, in less than 5 minutes, this whole thing's gonna blow sky high. We'll be lucky to get out of this room, let alone back to Earth.
And whose doing is that, Steve? He blew this one. I'm not sure what he thought he was fixing when he was arguing with Fitzhugh, but he definitely fixed him real good.
What's going on here?
I don't know.
Someone's interfering with the power in the building.
The teleporter.
Someone's operating the teleporter. Put him back in the cell and come with me immediately.
That could be a problem. I hope they have a way to get him out before the place goes up.
Get the one at the teleporter first.
Come on, if you want to die.
He's bluffing. Can't you see that, Willis? Well, what are you waiting for? Rush him!
Just try me. There's nothing I'd enjoy more.
If you think he's bluffing, you get him.
I've waited my whole life to hear someone like him say that. You may be an enemy of the little people, but I respect you for that, sir.
Rogers, get those little people on the floor.
They're gone. I'm not staying here.
Get out!
As the man said, iron bars do not a prison make, especially when you have one of those things. And when you have one of those things, a gun sometimes isn't much use either. I've talked before about how we're not afraid to kill bad people in this show. And one little bit of good news, it looks like all those guards got out alive. They had the good sense to leave when things got weird. Murad didn't. I have a feeling he embodied this world's version of the Peter principle.
There you are. Are you all right?
Yes, sir. But what about your machine? What will you do? Build another?
No, I'm afraid not. The time isn't right for a machine like that.
It's the old science conundrum. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. Is the world ready for the thing? Well, when you show it to someone in authority, what's the first thing they think of to do with it? If the first word out of their mouth is military, smash the thing with a hammer and destroy it with fire. The world isn't ready for it.
They'll be looking for us shortly. I think we'd better scatter. Good luck.
Come on.
Our last chance of going back to Earth.
How many times has he said that? He last chanced his way through the first season and much of this season. As long as you're breathing, you're not out of chances. If you're not breathing, you can't hear me anyway, so never mind.
Oh, Fitzhugh. The machine was destroyed. We still have our hope.
I suppose you're right. We still have hope.
Yeah, that's the same thing I said, except better. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please click the thumbs up. It really does help the channel. If you're not subscribed yet, the button looks something like this. So click it and join our little family. There's a bell there that may or may not actually work to give you notifications when we post something, but it can't hurt to click it just in case. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Funny you won't give it a name though. Slow down. Is they'd rather be Bad gang here was composed of women. Good grief. That fell apart.